Hey all, and welcome to our first episode in our Alteryx tips, tricks, and lesson learned series where expert engineers share with you our favorite shortcuts, hacks, and best practices with the Alteryx platform. So today I'm going to start with setting up our environment to really make our interaction with this platform as streamlined as possible. So I'm going to start up here in my options. I'm going to sneak over to my user settings and I'm going to edit those user settings. What you'll see is in this first tab some of our defaults. I've deselected a number of these checkboxes here, so I don't necessarily care about the startup window. I don't care to hear a sound when my workflow completes or to see the dialog box when it completes. But I've also deselected this collect and display data profile information. And this is relevant only here in the data pane when we're seeing our results. I don't necessarily care to see how many things are null, how many things are blank and have trailing spaces and so on and so forth. So I've deselected that as well. Within my canvas, I'm a grid guy, so I've selected show grid and selected gray and put it to 12 pixels here. Some people like to change the routing types of their connections. I prefer this auto route sort of curved version here. Within the advanced settings, you'll see, or I guess the piece that I like the most is the autosave functionality. So the ability to change how frequently it autosaves, how many per file it keeps, and how long it keeps them really helpful. We'll talk a little bit about macros in a later episode, but one thing that we really suggest is having a macro repository that's shared between you and all of the folks on your team. And actually, I have one that's shared in a local, or that I share via GitHub, and I just actually bring it down in a local repository. But this is where you also set up your macro repository as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click apply and OK. And the last thing that I like to do with my environments when I get Alteryx for the first time on a machine is I like to set up my tool categories to really pin the things that I use most frequently. So you'll see that I have a lot of things pinned here. And these are just the tool categories that I use most frequently so that I don't have to pan over and find things in my tool categories. So if I say, wanted to pin my reporting, it's really easy. I just right click it and I pin my recording. And then another thing, you'll see I'm clicked on my favorite tool categories. These are just the tools that I favorited within my tool categories. And let's say that I really want to pin my running total tool. All I have to do is pan over that tool, and I'll see this little star. Go ahead and click it, and sure enough, that running total is going to show up here. So these are some of my favorite things. If you have things that you do to your environment, please share within the comments, and stay tuned for other tips, tricks, and lessons learned from the Alteryx experts.